Well, hello, I'm Joanna Clark with Blissful Baby Sleep Coaching, and I'm here with another sleep success story. Kinnary, thank you so much for joining me today. We have successfully did some gentle sleep coaching with her two girls. She has a 3-year-old and a 14-month-old. So Mom, tell me what life was like prior to calling me.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for Anaya, who's my older one, we were very intimidated. It was very time consuming. She would go to sleep at 9, sometimes 9:30. She would require me to be by her, and it would take anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour and a half for her to fall asleep. But not just that, she would be so sensitive to me just getting out of the bed as soon as she fell asleep. And so my nights were essentially doomed. And I went to sleep at 8:39 before she did. And I think, in that sense, life was pretty disruptive because just didn't get time to myself or other parts of the family or any of that.
Right. And exactly. And I often call it like either a parent has to do kind of what I call the ninja move, which is the child's asleep and then you try to slide out of the bed, not to disturb them, or it's not worth trying to slide out. And then you're kind of held captive in there for way longer than you ever expected. And by the time you physically come out of the room to like maybe finish up your evening, you're so exhausted. It's 9 o'clock. The dishes are undone. You haven't talked to your spouse and your brain is just like, I just need to go to bed anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just lose lots of time. And then she was needing you in the middle of the night, wasn't she? Wasn't she awake frequently in the night?
No, not really, but she would be, she would wake up and she would see if we were around or not. So that would happen,
Yeah.
but if we wake up, we never noticed because we were so dead sleep anyway. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there were arousals she had, but she felt safe when we were around her.
Right. So yeah, so a parent kind of had to make an appearance. And then what
Right.
about the 14-month-old? What was that like?
She was another nightmare. She would wake up every half an hour to 1 hour. She was a very bad sleeper. And she was the main problem why we had to sleep train her first and then Anaya. But there were the whole first year after she was born, she just didn't sleep throughout the night. I don't remember a single night where she slept. It was literally every half an hour, every 1 hour, waking up crying, having to be comforted, walked around, rocked, all of that. So she was the bigger piece of work.
Exactly. So what we did is we knew we had to improve sleep with both children. So we were like, okay, do we choose, which one do we start with first? So we decided to kind of go with the harder situation, at least harder in the sense that the younger baby just had so many big giant wakings all night long that it required just constant nonstop support from a parent. So and I remember the day that she slept through the night for the first time and your nanny was like, what? Just how, what, where, and it was like this big celebration call because we got to see the possibility that something that was so challenging was loosening up, that we could actually trust that she had the capability.
Totally.
What made you decide to like reach out for help? Like, I mean, there you were 14-month and 3-year-old, like, why then?
It was just, everything was suffering, right? My relationship was suffering and just my own personal health was suffering so much. Waking up throughout the night and having endless sleepless nights, just it's taking a toll on everything. So I think it was the last resort for us, before we kind of like gave up and accepted how things were. So this is really like, let's at least try this and see how that goes.
Yeah. And I think that what you just said is like a key thing is like, you had been accepting the
Right.
way things were, kind of like in survival mode, or just like kind of like, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to help me, so I guess we just have bad luck in this area of our life. But you have a very demanding professional position. You also have to do a lot of international travel. And so at a certain point that it just was crunching in, where this kind of acceptance was no longer ability. But the problem was you were kind of already at like fumes, which is not great. So just note to self that anyone that's listening to this, you don't have to wait until you're on fumes to call to get help. Okay. Like, let's do this before you are like skidding through life. Like, let's do it when there's maybe a little bit more jump in your step. But yeah, so we needed success soon. We needed on the quicker side because mom was so depleted. Mom was the one that did the sleep training, because dad was then in charge of the other child on the nanny. So we had to kind of really tag team and be very strategic about how we were staging this out, in terms of keeping mom, able to work well at work and not sacrifice her professionalism while she's sleep training. So what does it look like now?
Very peaceful, life's back, which is great. I get my 7 to 11 back in the evenings, yeah, both kids are independently sleeping, which is really something that I never thought would happen. I had given up and I had accepted my life, but this is really a refreshing change. And yeah, can't recommend more, can't recommend the sleep training more, right? Like it's very, very helpful, especially for Anaya, who is slightly older, and I'd never thought they have their power struggles. You're so stubborn at this age, and I thought that it would never happen, but it did happen. And thank you, Joanna, for being so persistent and patient, sending all those videos that helped Anaya so much offline. Like she still sees a video every night of you encouraging her to sleep before she goes to bed. So yeah, it's been wonderful just having you, by my side, and knowing that I'm not fighting this alone. And it was a fight, honestly. It was very, very hard on my own health, like I said. So thank you. I really appreciate everything. And like I said, I recommend this as a number one thing for a parent to think about. And also for the kid, it's so beneficial for them to just sleep through the night and not having to need somebody, and so on and so forth. So overall, it's been wonderful, and I've just been so blessed to have met you and this program. And I think yeah, anybody who wants a personal referral recommendation, more than happy to talk again about this. But yeah, thank you very much for everything. This has been very helpful, to say the least.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Well, obviously, this is why I do what I do. 13 years is because I was a sleep deprived mom as well. And I was a professional working mom, and I knew how difficult it was to be the mom I wanted to be and also be the professional woman I wanted to be and what I was capable of. And I never wanted another mom to have that tension in their life. And I think that what's super interesting about your situation is that, with the 3-year-old, most families are very scared, like quite literally scared to do sleep coaching with the 3-year-old because of the tantrums, right? That's developmentally appropriate for them to have a lot of opinions about change at 3, right? That's why they call it the 3-nagers. But one thing I'm always trying to emphasize about my process is that I call it guilt-free, gentle sleep coaching, because I want to alleviate your guilt with making a change for your child, that we're not doing anything bad or scary or dangerous or hard or anything that we would ever do to like interrupt the attachment that you have with your 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the guilt-free part. And the gentle is we're creating it in such a way in the small incremental steps so that the child is feeling very much a part of the process. The child knows exactly what's happening and what their parents' response is. So in many ways, what it does is it builds tremendous confidence in the child,
Right.
while also building a better bond with the parent, because the boundaries between parent and child of a 3-year-old get more aligned so that you're all moving in the same path. So it really, it can be very nurturing for the relationship, because when you get a 3-year-old sleeping their 11 or 12 hours consolidated, they really are quite literally a very different child. They're just, like mom used the word peaceful. It is, parenting becomes more peaceful. The child becomes more confident.
Right.
And like mom said, I get a big chunk of time back in my life from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. I, as an adult professional woman, have a quiet household. I can talk to my husband. I can get some work done. I can take care of myself. I can go to bed on time. And that is like life-changing, beyond just the benefit of the kids sleeping and getting their developmental, their sleep needs met. You now have more capacity in your own life. So if you were to meet a sleep deprived professional woman who's like, I've got this big time job, I'm trying to get the promotion, or I've got work travel, I can't do this. Like, what do you want her to know about not hesitating to ask for help?
Just that, know there's a different life waiting for you, right? And it's possible. And every penny you spend on it is definitely going to be worth it. So that's my recommendation. Yeah.
Okay. Fabulous. All right. Well, it has been a joy to work with you. I am so happy that your children are sleeping well. I love the fact that she still sees the me before bedtime, encouraging her to sleep well. That just is adorable. And thank you so much for trusting me in this process for a family sleep transformation.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.